Today's webinar is presented by Fundy storyteller Scott Johnson, who is an award-winning photographer and Fujifilm ambassador, or ex-photographer, as Fuji likes to call them. Hi, Scott. How are you?
I was getting quite worried because that was a long pause, Angela. I'm thinking, has she disappeared? Has she gone? I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm very well. Thanks very much. It's good to see a little bit of sun here today.
I know. It's. I said that the spring is coming. I'm thinking about cutting the grass. So it's nice to kind of, we're in the UK. We're touching distance to getting back to normality. So I think now the weather's turning, all systems go, I think.
Yeah, great stuff. I mean, normally you'd be starting to get busy at this time, or just starting to build up, or would you be just looking forward to?
It would be about now. It would be obviously coming towards Easter. We'd start ramping up the weddings. We just maybe have done 3 or 4 over the winter period, and looking forward to a busy spring. And we're looking forward to a busy spring once we can get back to it. But it's nice to be presenting for Fundy again. It's something that I've really enjoyed doing over this lockdown period, and I've had a lot of correspondence and questions from all sides, really, from the album side to wall art, from the magazines. So it's nice to be giving back and supporting the company that have supported me the last 12 months. So if you're watching, Vanderberg and Jonathan, thank you very much.
Well, it's lovely to see you again. And obviously, like we're saying, it's been a really tough year, actually, a whole year. And people are now starting to look forward to the weddings that they've got booked, or rearranging bookings and things like that. And it's probably more important than ever to really make the most of those bookings, so you maximize sales. But also, it's not just a question of making more money from those sales. It's about being really efficient, isn't it? So that you use your time really, really effectively.
Yeah, and I think we're all guilty of having a little bit too much time over the last 12 months to get things in order. But not only like moving forwards, but also looking backwards to clients that we've already photographed, that have already got an interest in us and our brand. It's about, I don't like to use the word tapping in, but it's tapping into that market. Just because we photographed their wedding or engagement session or portrait session doesn't mean we forget about them. In fact, we should look after those people probably more than people that we've got coming up. And I'll explain more about that in the presentation.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds really interesting. So do you want to start by sharing your screen?
I will. Let me just hit play. Oh, I seem to have, hang on. You think after
it's always a tense moment, this, isn't it?
I know. You think after a year of doing Zoom, I'd be pretty much perfect by now, wouldn't you, really? But
there's always a little change somewhere.
Oh, I know. Right, here we go. There we go. So you should be able to see my screen now.
Yeah, that's all fine. So I'm just going to mute myself so you don't hear me if anyone's tapping on Facebook or anything like that.
No problem at all. Well, those of you that are there, thanks very much for joining me. Thanks. I know it's a funny time of day here in the UK. It's just after 5 p.m. And those of you on the west coast of the States, good morning. Thanks for stopping in. This is really about using Fundy software to maximize profit with wall art sales. Now, for those of you that are in the US that are watching, I'm very aware that the market out there for selling wall art is very different here in the UK. So this is really kind of more led towards the UK market and what we could be doing to maximize sales from clients that we've already photographed. I'm a great believer in that, if people have already invested in us, then that's half the job done. It's half the job, then we can really kind of move forwards and maximize potential profit and maximize sales with people that we've already photographed, and not necessarily couples that we're about to. But it's about the indoctrination of the couples that we are about to photograph and planting the seed right from day one when they come in to see us, to book us for weddings and moving forwards. So how do we do what we've got and make more money from couples that we've already photographed? Now, I'm a great believer in that it's the law of attraction. It's the law of attraction, and couples that we've already photographed are already invested into us and our brand, and they already like what we do. And we need to be using our social media channels a lot more proactively than what we actually are. It's not about bragging about the award that we've just won or putting a picture of your dinner up. A good friend of mine, Kevin Mullins, those of you that listen to the FujiCast podcast, one of his sayings is, don't forget the social in social media. And that's what we have to do. We have to interact with our clients and our couples, both past and, you know, couples that are coming up in the future, and using the platform to educate them in what we do. Because our websites could be brilliant. We could have the best SEO in the world and the best website, you know, Flow Themes or Squarespace, whoever it is you're using. But that only shows so much. I mean, you can have a huge website like the BBC and have all the information on there, but people get bored very quickly. My average hit rate on the website is about 4 minutes, and 4 minutes is a good amount of time, but it's only 4 minutes. And I want to give so much more information about how I do things. So I use my social media channels really, really proactively. I hate social media, if I'm honest. If I could come off it tomorrow, I probably would from a personal point of view, but I'm very aware that we need it to run the business. So from the business side of things, I'm on it all the time. So it's about creating a hype and letting people know, and again, planting the seed right from inception about this is what we can do for you. And it's about appealing to clients and appealing to their needs about what we can do and how we can best serve them once their wedding's already done. So I'm going to use the last 12 months as an example. I mean, here in the UK, it's actually 12 months ago today that we actually locked down for the first time, and everyone's diaries just emptied from weddings and portraits. Maybe not commercial shoots as much, but certainly from a social side of photography, today was. So we are D-Day plus 365 today. And I knew that we had to still try and make some revenue. And to do that, I had to tap into people that I'd already photographed, because there wasn't anyone coming up. There was no end game at the point we were at last year. There was no, we're definitely going to be hitting weddings again from May the 17th, like we hopefully are this year. That date didn't exist. So we had to think very quickly about how we did things. And by using the law of attraction and by speaking to people that we'd already photographed, that have already been invested in the brand and how we do things, it was like an easy win, because they knew me, they knew the brand, they knew the quality of work, and they might necessarily have the time and the effort to sit down and go through selections for wall art in a normal situation, because they're busy, they're both working, they've got family to run. But at the point of lockdown, everyone was at home, so they had a bit more time. So what I did was, this was a post from the 16th of May last year, and it was at that point that we were close to being allowed to photograph people from a social point of view. We were allowed to start arranging shoots, because from June, we were allowed to go out and see people again that wasn't outside our households. So what I did was I used some key words and some key phrases: celebrate life, family, and togetherness. Now, at this point in May, we just spent the best part of 10 weeks locked up in our houses, apart from going out for food, with our family. So I'm speaking from personal opinion, we created a new bond. We got to know each other more as a family because we spent more time together. And a lot of people that I know wanted to celebrate that. So we started offering location family portraits. We weren't allowed to see people in the studios at this point, so it had to be outdoors. And thankfully, we're quite blessed in the UK. Our May and June, the weather's not too bad here. Actually, it was glorious last year, to be honest. So we made sure, and we made, as you can probably see here, distancing rules, 2 meters minimum, reassuring our clients that we use long lenses. We don't come any real distance of people to photograph them. So it reassured them that we were following the rules and we were safe to do so. So, as you can see here, 82 likes, 4 comments, 10 shares. So that was getting traction, because people were chomping at the bit to, get out and see people and have some photographs, because everyone's just taking selfies, and, we're professionals and we should be offering our services to people. So what I did was, everyone that liked it, those that weren't invited or weren't part of the Facebook group, I clicked on the links on the 82 and I hit invite on every person that wasn't a part of the Facebook group. And that created more traction. So what we did from there was we booked some shoots off the back of that. So 4 comments, 10 shares, a lot of traction. We booked about 10 shoots once we were allowed to do it. And we went out and photographed these couples, families, people. I don't know about in the US, but certainly here in the UK, everyone got a puppy in lockdown, it seems like. So we photographed the dog. We photographed the dog with the kids, mum and dad, the kids. We did every permutation we could possibly do with the goal of maybe selling an album, but certainly selling some wall art to put up on the wall. So once we did the shoots, we showed that what we did. People will always gravitate and they will buy what they see. Those that have come in that see me do wedding album seminars, I have the biggest and best wedding albums on display because I want the couples to buy what they are seeing. And if couples, they can't buy words like this, they can't buy words. So what we did a post.
Hey, Scott, Scott,
Yeah.
can I just jump in? If you hit play, we're seeing all of the surroundings of your screen at the moment. If you hit play, you should get a bit, but that's better. It's a bit clearer now.
My
That's
bad.
all right. Sorry. It took me a moment to realize what was going on.
No problem.
Carry on.
As you can see here, couples, they can't buy words. They won't buy into words. They need to be seeing and they need to buy what they see. So these are the two couples that were happy for me to use their images online. And we used happy pictures, couples looking happy together. This is just a screenshot from my iPad. And again, we're using words, we're using our vocabulary to help sell the product and what we've got. So lockdown has given most families proper quality time together like never before. No, without saying no commute, no working late, everyone's at home. There's no excuse not to be together and come as one. So again, 7 comments, 3 shares, 42 interactions with the post. Again, I've gone through and I've liked, and everyone that isn't invited got an invite because I've tagged the couples in so their friends will be able to see what they've got. And then we got more traction and we did more location portrait shoots as a result. So then I changed tact. Then what I did was I started as a couple that booked in from this post that I did. So I changed tact. They said to me, there's a field that we like our family shot done in. So that's where we want to go. So I thought, oh, well, I'll go and do a recce on the location in which they want the photograph. So I did a post about just finished an amazing family shoot. This was a recce. This was the shot that I took on the recce without the family in it. And it, this is a nice field at sunset. There's a cornfield not too far from me. And it's what they wanted. So I'm creating a buzz and excitement of this is what we're going to be doing. Doesn't this look great? And again, 4 shares, 29 reactions with the post. Again, I've invited everyone in and we've got more traction and booked more shoots as a result of being on social media. So this was the location that we did. And again, I've got a call to action on every single post that I've done. Contact us in now to get booked in. So once we've done the shoot, again, we're now tying back in. So people that are new to the page, the algorithm will say that they'll see more posts than they shouldn't because they're new to the page. That Facebook knows that they're interested in what we do, so they'll start seeing more. So I put a post up from the shoot. So as you can see, going backwards and forwards, that the location is exactly the same, and this is how we've done it. Now, this is where the kicker is. So I've just ordered a beautiful piece of wall art for my location family portrait we did last month. If you're thinking about the image for your wall from your wedding day or location portrait session that we've covered for you, or you'd like to book in for the autumn session, then please contact us now. Here's the kick. Remember, it's not a photograph until it's printed. And that will automatically get people thinking, you know what, he's right. We've got all these images on our phone and on our beautiful album, but we've not actually got anything printed for the wall. And again, there's a call to action here because by now, as you can see, we're mid to late August. So we're now into the autumn season. We were still allowed to shoot at this point. So I was starting to book in location portrait sessions for September and October, when here in the UK, it looks like, the northeast of the US, the fall colors, the autumn colors are just beautiful. So we maximize that and we put a call to action in. So this is where Fundy software comes in. We knew right from the word go that this couple wanted a beautiful piece of wall art for their wall. They just moved house and they wanted something to celebrate moving in. So those of you that don't know the software, you have the gallery designer, and in the gallery designer, you can mock up anything that goes onto the wall. So again, this point, we were allowed to go into people's houses. So I went in and took a photograph of the couple's wall. So as you can see here, this is a screenshot from Fundy. And on the bottom lower left here, I'm pointing, but you can't see. You can see the actual image of their front room. And to the left of that, we have the image of which they want on their wall for the wall art. Now, most couples you speak to, they don't really get sizing when it comes to wall art or even photographs. You know, they think an 8x10 is big, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not bad if it's going on your desk. If you're going to put an 8x10 in a frame on a wall, it's really tiny. So what this piece of software does, it actually educates, and education, not in a patronizing term, it actually educates the couple into what size they should probably go for, not the size they probably think they should go for. Because this couple, they said to me, oh, just a 24x16, you know, which is, you know, 76x50-ish in centimeters, which is the image on the right-hand side. So purposely, I left the image on the middle, which is on the wall as it stands, for reference. So straight away, the image on the right is too small. But their budget didn't really stretch to the bigger image on the left-hand side because they had a budget. They wanted to stick to it, which is absolutely fine. And here's the thing. Here in the UK, we had a lot of people off work for the last 12 months. We've been getting what's called furlough. And there's been a lot of people that have been saying you should probably ring the clients and ring this. I hate being cold called. I hate being cold called. I wouldn't cold call people if my life depended on it. I really wouldn't. I don't like doing it. I just won't do it. The reason I use social media is because people that have already invested into your brand and are constantly reacting to your posts, they're the people that you want to be targeting because they're showing interest because they're always interacting with your posts. So every couple or every person that was clicking like, love, wow, that was sharing the stuff that I was producing online, they were the couples I was emailing to say, I've seen you know, you like it. It's great to see you active on the page. Have you thought about doing a shoot? Yes, I was going to call you. Would love to get one booked in. So I'm actively targeting the people that are most invested in what I'm doing. And I think that's quite important because for every person that has been sitting at home earning their furlough and grant money that have, you know, got too much money, don't know what to do with it, I can guarantee you here in the UK, there are 5 people that aren't. There are 5 people that are struggling, and there are 5 people that have probably just lost their jobs. And the last thing they need is a phone call from me saying, hey, have you thought about a location portrait shoot? They just don't want to hear it at the minute. So we have to be really careful about applying ourselves to the right market and being empathetic to everyone's situation. Yes, there are people out there that are at home that have, you know, been earning their 80% for the last 12 months and are loving it and have got more money to shake a stick at. You know what? Good for them. That's brilliant. But I'm well aware, the position that I'm in with the company, that there are more people, or a lot of people, sorry, that are struggling out there. And we have to make sure that we're attracting the right people into the shoot. Anyway, that was a little bit of a sidetrack. So what we did was this couple would say they had a budget, but once they saw the size of the wall art on the left-hand side, it was for them, it's a no-brainer. We'll go for the bigger one. And you could see the wife kind of thinking, oh, you know, can we, like, yeah, that's the one. It's going to suit best with the print we want to keep up on the wall. So this was the print that got sent away to Graphic Studio to get printed. They had a beautiful Canvas Pro done. The HD colors on that literally flew off the page. It looked absolutely stunning. So the previous post was, we have just ordered a piece of wall art for this client. As I said before, people would generally only buy what they see. So when the wall art came in, there's me with the wall art, because people, in again, 85 reactions, 6 comments, 2 shares. People are now thinking, oh my God, how awesome does that look? And straight away, we are showing what we want to be selling, which is wall art. And again, we've just received back from Italy this amazing wall art from our location family portrait session back in late July. Again, tying in the shoot, tying in the off the camera, tying in the recce sheet we've done, and they can see from capture to print how it looks and the process and what's involved. And not only that, the general time scale of what's involved. We always say between 6 to 8 weeks from location shoot to wall art, and here we are. 21st of September, the wall art is here. We delivered it the next day. So we're bang on 4 weeks from the shoot. We've got the wall art. We did the shoot late July. That's, you know, we're exactly on 8 weeks from when we did the shoot. And again, with the 85 people, we tagged the family in, their family members saw it, and we did it. And we got more shoots booked for showing what we want to sell. And again, a call to action with the colors on the trees on the turn. This is late September, so the colors on the trees are on the turn. For the next 6 to 7 weeks, it is not too late to book your family session in. And as a result of that, we got 4 more sessions booked in, and all 4 had wall arts. It's incredible. I can't stress enough. You have to be showing what you want to sell. And again, just to bookend everything in, that was the finished product on the wall. Now they took that because at this point we were, at a point where we couldn't go into people's houses. This was early October, so we couldn't go to people's houses. So this is the couple. So forgive the very yellow white balance there. And to show how reliable the Fundy software is, that is the 2 side by side. So you can see that the actual image of the wall art on the wall on the left is exactly how I mocked it up using Fundy software. So it is a very, very powerful tool to be able to use. So moving forwards, I had a chat off camera with Angela before we went live. Now, not everyone in the UK has a big, lovely house. I wish that was the case, but it isn't. I live in a little cottage that was built in 1823, which I believe is older than Texas in the US. So we have quite a small cottage with not a lot of wall space. But we have to still sell to people that do have big houses and big wall spaces. And we can't, because of where we are living, we can't then limit on what we offer by where we are. So we offer big, amazing wall art products. This is the wall space from a family that I did their wedding on New Year's Eve 2019 to coming into 2020. They had a massive book. They live in a huge house not too far from me. And they said, we want big wall art. But they couldn't see how it was going to look. So again, this is where Fundy software comes in, and the Fundy album gallery designer really comes into its own, because we again, much like the previous couple, we can show exactly how it looks. So this was the frame that went up onto the wall, and you saw it. You can see we've gone back into inches, so 36 by 24. So with the mount, with the frame, we're over 45 inches wide, and sort of almost 40, sort of 30 inches high. It is a huge piece of wall art. When they saw that, they said, well, what about the other walls? Can we get some more for the other walls? Maybe the stairs. So we did 4 pieces at this size, which today is the biggest wall art sale I've ever done, because I could show them and they could actually see how it was going to physically look. So when the wall art came in, it only came in last week, I did a post about it. I did a post. Look at this amazing frame we've had come in. And again, call to action. It's never too late. 21 reactions. But what this post did, this was the kicker. So from the comments at the post was this: I need to do mine. Greg, shall we measure up? So I've put a post up of showing an actual frame ready to be delivered to the client's house. And again, clients have seen that and thought, we need to do this as well. This is something we have to do. And I've been very honest and open in the posters that I've done and say, do it before we get busy. Book your family shoot in now before we get busy, because when May 17th happens and we can get out to shoot weddings again, I won't have the time to be shooting location family portraits or doing extra work for wall art. We'll get people in to do that. It's not a problem. But straight away, we've got 2 clients here that we've shot previously that have already, thinking about putting orders in. I chased them up, and we're going to go ahead and do some wall art for this 2 couple here. It's brilliant. And as a result of that, yesterday, and this is no word of a lie, yesterday, this email came in. Hope all is well. Yesterday, saw on Facebook about family photo shoots. They're booked in. They're booked in for the April the 16th. We're going to get their location family portrait done, and we will do some wall art for them. And it's about capturing and creating and using the law of attraction to couples that we've already done. And, they know us. They know the brand. I'm going to come with screen share next. I'm going to do a little demo on Fundy. So they know us, they know the brand, they know the quality of work, and it is a lot easier to sell to people that we've already photographed than it is to new people that have come in that don't really know a lot about us yet. So it's really, really important that we're tapping in and using our already client base that we have. If you use Studio Ninja or Light Blue or whatever CRM that you use, go through it. And then if you've got the information, go back and look at the people that are most interacting with your posts, most commenting, and the most sharing, because they are the couples that will probably book in on a family shoot. Have you got any questions, Angela, before I dive into showing how to use the gallery designer in Fundy?
I was just going to ask you whether you always, hang on, let's do that. It's a bit nicer. Do you do you always get the wall art sent directly to you and never straight to the client?
I do, purely because I'm old fashioned and I like to check everything that goes out. Now, I trust my suppliers totally, but the law of the average, or the sod's law, will tell you the minute that you send something straight to the client is the minute you'll have a problem. And if it goes straight to the client, I can't fix it. Well, I can, but it's more of a fuss. If it comes here, I can nip anything in the butt here before it goes out. And now, everything that's come here, there have been problems before. I'm not going to lie. No one's perfect, and we have sorted things out. And the client never knows. They don't need to know. We do not let to let daylight in on magic. And if I can deliver a piece of wall art or an album that is perfect, they don't know about the 3 or 4 things that maybe weren't. We had a nick in the paint. It was dropped in DHL. Put a foot mark on it. I ain't got to know that. It's all good. So it'll always come here first.
Yeah. And do you always take it round personally, or do you? I suppose it depends how far away they are.
No, I do. Where possible, yes. So those big frames, I delivered them on Sunday. I know, I'm delivering, and I'm the different to an Amazon delivery driver. So I went to the house, rang the doorbell, and I dropped them on the doorstep, said a quick hello, and I went. So at that point, yeah. And I think with that particular client, they'd spent a lot of money with me, not only on photography, but on wall art. I want to deliver that personal level of service because, and she said to me as I left, my daughter's 23. When her time comes, I'm ringing you. And that's like great, because the level of professional service that we offer is something that we want to do, not just of mum and dad, but their kids and their kids, maybe not their kids. I'll be, I'm already 41. Maybe I'll be retiring in 20 years, but we'll see. But, we'll see how we go. But no, always where possible, hand deliver where possible. Or if they can, they come and collect it here. But as we know, we can't do that in a minute, and they're not allowed in. But where possible, everyone comes to get it from here, or we drop it off.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, because it's about maintaining that contact, isn't it? And just sort of reminding people who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this couple, we first spoke to them in September 2019. So we're almost 18 months into the journey of being a client-customer relationship. And, we had a great time. They were great. They were brilliant. And we want to keep that level of service up. And, there's no better recommendation than word of mouth. And if they say, actually, we use Scott at the Edge, he was brilliant. Look at this album. When you come around next, we'll show you our pieces of wall art. And our photography is doing the selling for us. And if couples can see what we can do in a physical form, but get the backup from a personal recommendation from that client, then our job is done. It should be a no-brainer that their friends will at least come and speak to us. They might not want to book us, but at least come and speak to us.
Yeah, really good point. Okay.
All right. I'm going to share my screen again. And there we go. And I'm going to show you how we use the gallery designer. So here we go. This is the Fundy Suite. So this is an album that we've just literally sent off. This is a wedding that we shot in lockdown, actually. We did this back in December. One of the weddings that we were allowed to photograph. So I've just sent it off. So it makes common sense that I can use this in from here. So at the top, you have the tabs. You have the album builder, the gallery designer, the card, the blog collage, and the image brander. So for the gallery designer, now we've got the client profile in here. So I will click on here and go to new gallery. So much like you use the album designer, album builder, you do have everything that's already in here. All the labs are already in. So those that use wall art, so you got Miller's, Bay Photo in the States. So we have here in the UK, we have Graphic Studio and Loxley and Sim. So you can use that. So we'll go in and use Graphic Studio and hit next. Again, I just call it wall art because it just sits in the client portal anyway. And we hit finish. It's just going to load up because my Mac is getting old and slow. It's just going to load in. So what this is doing is bringing in a fake room. Now, these are already designed in the software, and you've got bedrooms in here. You've got you go into the rooms down the bottom, and you have already loaded it into the gallery designer, a bedroom. or a nursery maybe, or a wall. But as I said in the keynote, it's really important that the clients that are coming in to buy wall art can actually visualize the wall art hanging in their own house. So what we do is that we have some pre-loaded in rooms. So I'm just going to load that one in. So what we can do, this is my parents' front room, actually. This is because they had a bit of wall art from a shoot that we did not too long ago, well, back in 2019. The good thing about Fundy Gallery Designer is that you can actually scale everything. So what I've done here, I have put a young book in because I know that this edge here is 30 centimeters. So when I'm doing images for clients, what I try and do, let me try and give you a different one. Here we go. Let me drag this one in. So this is another client's top room. So I always try and say, can you make sure you leave a light switch in the picture where possible? So I can actually measure the light switch here. So light switches in the UK are generally 8.8 centimeters or 88 millimeters. I don't know what that is in inches. 20 centimeters, 20.8 cm is 8 inches or 8. So that's what we do into there. So what we do, we click on it and we go edit room. And it's at this point, you can see on here, I've already scaled this up. So you can drag this along. This is the line we use for scaling. So you can see here, so use that line there and we tell the designer how long that line is. So if we go back to here, I've told Fundy Gallery Designer that this line is 9 centimeters long. So it's going to scale everything given that this is 9 centimeters, which is why in the slide that I showed you, that when we did the mock-up and then the real life, it was exactly because we left a light switch in there and we loaded it up and everything was perfectly to scale. So we go to next, and then we use the design area. So if you're doing collages or single wall arts, this is the area in which it will design, or it will lay out the wall art on the wall. Now you can make that, you can move it around. You can make that if you want tall pieces or have everything covered. But obviously we don't want anything over the light switch. We'll make it a little bit bigger up here and go finish. So we know that this is now 9 centimeters wide. So at the bottom here, again, we've gone into the room portion here. We go back into where the images are and we make some prints. So what we do, we've already got up here selected Pro Acrylic. So in here, we have all the wall arts that Graphic Studio actually offer. So we've got the Pro Acrylic. Now, Pro Acrylic metric is obviously the metric system, so more European. So if you're using centimeters, then you should use this. If you're in the US, then just use Pro Acrylic. That will give you your sizing in inches. Obviously, we're here in the UK, so we'll use Pro Acrylic metric. So what I'll do, I'll bring a picture up into the gallery. As you can see here, 101 by 76 centimeters. So the client might say to you, actually, we want, I'm actually old school. I'm going to go into inches because that's the way my brain works. So 40 by 30, you can see here, 40 by 30, that's already changed. You can double click or single click on here, click on the edit option, because the client might say, I want a 20 by 16. So you go 20 by 16. And that's how big a 20 by 16 will look on their wall. And you can say, well, that's a nice size print, but I think you'll agree it's a little bit too small. And they'll say, oh, yeah, I didn't really think about that. So you can just click and then drag. And you can see at the bottom here, the sizing actually changes. And just by dragging it up, that what's best suited for that wall is a 60 by 40. So straight away, you're selling a bigger piece of wall art because it suits the actual wall that the wall art is going to be hanging on. And we just, you can just change it in from there. If you're doing mega mat, this is the size of the print. And you can see here, the size of the mat is actually already being factored in. So again, just by changing, we'll just change that up. So go 40 by 30. And hit yes. And change the mat size and go to white. As you can see, that will changes. And again, canvases will change. Canvas wrap will change because again, you can see, I don't know if you can see here, but the actual frame will change because we're actually wrapping more of the image around the side than what we are if we're just having an acrylic. So it's always better to bear that in mind as well. Now, Graphic Studio don't offer frames. So if you want to change print company, and we'll show you, we'll use Loxley as an example because they do frames. We'll hit yes. So up from here, we'll go to framed prints. And at the bottom, we now have a fourth icon, and it's from here that you will pick your molding. So we have, say, 3/4 inch, 2 inches, 4 inches. So straight away, we'll bring that in. And you can see the 40 by 30 image is actually bigger once you bring the factor into the mount and also the molding. So you can go from 1.5 inches to 2 inches to 3 inches. And then you've got all those different stocks down in here as well. You use black, 1, 2, or 3. So for the wall lot that we used for the clients with the first dance picture, I knew it was going to be big. So we actually used a 2-inch molding from here. And again, the same size. You can show exactly how big that will actually go. And I noticed that this will only go as big as what Loxley will actually print. So again, but you can speak to your supplier, Bay Photo, Graphy, Loxley, Sim, whoever, Millers, and they might be able to print bigger. That's not been updated in the software yet. So it's always best speaking to your printer of choice. And that is pretty much it. You've got the sizing calculator in here. So you can, the frame print, you can set your size, you can edit the pricing, go down to here. So we can go into, so I don't use this, I don't print this size. This is not something that we do. But if I did do a frame, I would go to Loxley and then go to all and go to frame print. And you can see here what we've got, what's active and what I've got priced in. So we scroll down and the pricings that I do have is a 16 by 24, the 20 by 30, and the 24 by 36. So if we change, if I cancel this and go okay and go 24 by 36, there we go. I hit pricing calculator. That is already in. That price is already in. And I hit OK. And I hit the plus. Wall art room 1 and hit add. And that is made an order. So that now we can create an order and a PDF invoice by selecting this icon at the top right here. And go to wall art export. Oh, sorry, order for print. Hang on. Cancel. There we go. This one here. Sorry, the one down the bottom. I'm going to change my screen share just so you can see what I mean. There we go. So you can see here, and we've got orders on the right-hand side. And this is where our order will be dropped in and it will create an invoice for the client. You can see the wall art room is already done. You hit view order. That will bring up an invoice. There we go. And you can export the invoice as a PDF. So it's a really good way of building up actual print orders, collages, different wall art. Again, you can just do reprints, 10 by 8, 6 by 4s, 20 by 4 by 16s on prints. And here, it's a perfect way of having everything in one space. And I don't think really that a lot of people are using the gallery designer to help sell wall art because, again, clients will generally buy what they see. And if they can see it on the wall and visualize it in their house, they'll generally buy it. And this has been quintessential. I've made more money in wall art sales during a pandemic than I have in any other year in business because I've targeted the right people, I've sold to the right people, and more importantly, using the gallery designer in Fundy, I've shown the clients how it will look on their wall. And if they see it, they'll generally buy it.
So do you think you're going to take what you've learned through the pandemic into the wedding season and start using that knowledge?
Yeah, 100%. I think we've all had a massive learning curve during this pandemic, and we've all made changes to the business that we didn't necessarily think we needed or had the time for during normal business hours where we're just too busy. But I think what this has shown me during the quiet time is I've changed my workflow. I've implemented ideas. I've actually stopped doing things that weren't working and done things that are working like this. And certainly we'll be using this more. And I think when I'm sending, certainly when I'm sending my proof galleries out out and doing IPS, I would include a couple of pictures on a generic wall and say, if you like what you're seeing, send me a picture of where you want wall art to hang and I'll mock something up for you. And again, if we can get them at that point that they want to see and they can see what they're going to be having, it's a lot easier sell.
I was just going to ask you that, with when you've got your, you put your album together, you've gone through all the pictures, would you actually cherry pick a few and say this would look great as a big print, and this one would look great with this one?
I think we all need to shoot what we want to sell. And I've been shooting for album sales for years. So I've been shooting my style in a specific way to sell album spreads, which again, Fundy's great for, because they can visualize how big the book's going to look. But certainly we need to also think about wall art sales now. And certainly when I was doing the location family portrait sessions, knowing that we may sell an album, but I'm generally want to sell some wall art, my style changed a little bit to facilitate wall art rather than albums. Now, obviously, I've been shooting my style for 15 years, so I can't come away from it too much, but certainly I had a couple of shots in for wall art. So when I was cropping it in Lightroom, I was giving it more of a wall art feel than I was an album feel. So again, it's you like a magician will kind of force a card on you when doing a magic trick. We're kind of forcing the suggestion that this will look good on a wall. So we'll definitely be doing this moving forwards 100%.
Those templates are really useful, aren't they? I mean, the fact that you can show someone what a living room will look like with a picture in it above a sofa and things like that.
It's great. I mean, I didn't even get to touch on the collage section. So if you're doing collages, if you're doing wall art collages of like you're doing the dog, the 3 kids and mum and dad, you can set a collage out on there as well. And, that's something we can come back to at a later webinar. I know we're almost at time. So it's something that we can discuss, but collages are a great way of building a lot more smaller wall arts, but price them as a body, but you have a 10 by 10, a 12 by 12 and a 20 by 16. And you set it all out in a way that it's going to look good on their wall. So that's like, actually, that looks quite nice, because the thought of buying 10 pieces of wall art is probably not everyone's cup of tea. But when you set it out as a collage and a single body of work, it looks great.
So I was just going to ask you about that, actually. Do you find that most people are interested in buying one big print rather than, say, 4 that are laid out together?
I think in the UK, couples would generally, my experience anyway, they'll have one big piece for the wall and then they'll buy frames around the house, one in the bedroom, one up, walking up the stairs, that type of thing. So I think given the space, my couple, as an example from the weekend, they wanted the big statement image. They wanted the big wow image, which is great. Maybe we'll get them from sell them a collage later on down the line. But they wanted that big. They said, I want people to walk in and go, wow. And I think that's where we are here in the UK. In our house downstairs, we have that one piece on the wall that goes, wow. A good friend of mine, George Fairburn, took it. It's an amazing portrait. And that's what everyone, when they come and see me here, that starts a conversation. And I think if couples can see that I'm invested in wall art, they'll invest in wall art.
I think the other thing is that if you can sell a piece of wall art to a client, once we can start having dinner parties and friends around and things like that, every time a friend goes into their house, they see that picture and they're going to say, wow, who's that by? Who took that? What's the story there? And so suddenly, your card's kind of in someone's living room.
And that's what I said. If couples we've already invested in have got their album on display, because that couple got married December 2019, they've not had anyone over for 12 months. They're gagging to show people my pictures in their album. So, people are going to sit there and go through it if they want to. But again, we're softly selling our work by the pieces of art we have up on the wall. And there is no better, as you said, there's no better calling card than an actual print in an actual frame on an actual wall that people are seeing and going, wow, that looks pretty good.
Do you think that your weddings, obviously you're going to be very busy, but hopefully in the next few months, will you try and squeeze in some of the outdoor portrait shoots, the environmental portrait shoots that you've enjoyed doing during the lockdown, do you think?
Yeah, so I've just started. I've just started advertising now for when we come out of this period. We're allowed to shoot from April, so we can do that. So I've already got shoots booked in. But I always offer location shoots to my couples anyway. That not everyone takes them up because time's always a factor. But we always offer an hour shoot somewhere as part of certainly the bigger packages anyway. Coverages, not packages. We shouldn't say packages. It's not a holiday. The bigger coverages and collections that we offer as part of it, because again, it's something something we can sell to. They can use images as invites using the card designer in Fundy. Save the dates, we can do that as well. But also it's a way of the client getting used to how I photograph and me getting used to how they are in front of the camera. So I adore location portrait sessions. Now we're coming into sort of late March. In 3 weeks, we'll be hitting bluebell season. So I'm all for it. And I've already started advertising for that for my clients that are coming in. That client that came in, the email that came in overnight and yesterday, we've got them booked in for April, and we're hopefully going to get bluebells. So it's about knowing your area, knowing the time of year that's best to photograph, knowing the light, and again, local knowledge. But I want to do more location shoots. I've just bought new lights I'm going to play around with now, which I'm going to be using for location shoots. So I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic. So if you're doing the shoot in April, I guess the client will be seeing those pictures in your hand in June.
Yeah, there will be. Yeah, I mean, the books we use for graphic studio, we use the Go book, which has got about a 3-week turnaround for location shoot portraits. We use the baby book as well, which is great. Again, a similar sort of 1 to 2 week turnaround, so we can be really quick. And again, we're using Fundy. I can design a book in 20 minutes. So there's no need to say it's going to be 10 weeks because it's not. With Fundy, there's no excuse to delay. You can do it really, really quickly, make it look really professional, and deliver a really quality product.
And it's just a moment, isn't it, when you're designing the album and you're doing a double page spread of one particular picture. It's just on the wall to create a bit of wall art to show to the client. And it's as
quick as what I showed. You go from the album builder to gallery designer in one click, and the images are already loaded into that software. So it's a case of one click. Who do you want to print it? Save it, and then design your wall art. It's as quick as that. It's seamless, and that's why the software is great for a multitude of revenue incomes, not just wedding albums, for wall art cards. And if you're doing blogs, it's a no-brainer to have it.
What I think is really nice and actually really interesting is that, like you say, you've been shooting weddings for 15 years and you haven't really done a great deal of wall art. But now, because of what happened during lockdown, okay, I mean, it's been not great fun, but because of what happened and because of your approach to the shoots, it's kind of made you think about how you're going to shoot weddings in the future. So, you've always shot for albums, but now you're also going to think about wall art, which I think, it's kind of inspiring, isn't it? It keeps you firing.
It does. I think we're so reserved in this country to sell to people. No, I think we have that, timid nature, or some of us do, and I don't, obviously. But it's just, I think we have to make people aware of what we sell, and how are people going to buy it if we don't sell it? Jeremy Price at Graphy in the UK, he came around mine. Back again summer before last when we were doing wall art, and he said, "Is this print for the sale? I've got a wall art piece up on the wall here behind me, you can see it. We've got price tags on them because people don't know that they're for sale, so we put a little tag saying for sale and a price on it, because if people don't know they're for sale, they won't ask if it's for sale or not. So we have to initiate that conversation and get people on our side to know that we can actually sell wall art.
That's a really good point. Well, Scott, it's been fantastic hearing from you, and thank you for sharing all your ideas and pearls of wisdom.
It's been a pleasure. My love to my Fundy family, love to Jonathan and Andy and the guys in the UK, and thanks for having me back on. It's a real pleasure. I know we spoke offline about some things coming up in the future for the UK ambassadors. So Sanjay, if you're watching, mate, Veer, let's get on it, pal. Let's do something for the UK for Fundy software.
Okay, thanks very much then. Bye-bye.
Real pleasure.